Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, July the 25th, 2013. Authorities in Bulgaria have released the names and photos of two people today who are believed to be involved in the terror attack last summer in Burgas that killed 5 Israeli tourists and a Bulgarian bus driver. They are identified as 32-year-old Australian citizen Meliad Farah, also known as Hussein, and 25-year-old Canadian citizen Hassan El Haj Hassan. Bulgaria's Interior Ministry released a statement today saying that 3 weeks before the July 18th attack last year, the men were spotted in several nearby cities where investigators believe they checked into hotels and hired cars with fake IDs. The authorities asked the public today for their cooperation, asking anyone who might have seen the two suspects to report to the nearest police station. A third suspect, the suicide bomber who was killed in the blast, has not been identified as of yet. Following the elections yesterday in Jerusalem of Israel's two new chief rabbis, Rabbi David Lau and Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef, the American Jewish Committee called on the new rabbis to embrace world Jewry and for the office of chief rabbi to be reformed. The AJC has expressed in the past its concerns about the institution of chief rabbi in Israel, and once again today urged that it be transformed into an office of, quote, moral influence rather than coercive power. Of particular importance, the AJC said, are the functions of the chief rabbinate with respect to issues of marriage, conversion to Judaism, the rights of women within Judaism, and respect of the plural expressions of Judaism within the Jewish state, saying that these issues and questions affect the Jewish people across the globe. The AJC said, as Rabbis Lau and Yosef assume their respective offices, we underscore the importance of the relationship of Israel to world Jewry and urge that the newly elected chief rabbis recognize the intense interest of world Jewry in the resolution of these questions. The Jerusalem Post reports that soldiers from the IDF's Givati Brigade arrested a Palestinian man who was carrying out a shooting attack on an Israeli bus south of Nablus in the West Bank today. The suspect managed to fire off one shot at the bus's baggage compartment, causing some damage, but no one was injured in the attack. The IDF believes the suspect carried out 2 previous shooting attacks on Israeli buses last month and had undercover soldiers from the unit traveling on the bus routes for several weeks already in an effort to apprehend him. One of those soldiers was on the bus that was shot at today. Although he was off duty at the time, he spotted the shooter and alerted his commanders, which led to the arrest. And staying with the IDF, its civil administration publicized plans yesterday to build a network of high-speed trains throughout the West Bank. The network would connect all major Palestinian cities with Israeli population centers, as well as with the Gaza Strip and the border crossings into Jordan and Syria, and would serve both Palestinians and Israelis. According to Israel's Transportation Ministry, the plans are not set to be implemented for several years, and they do need approval from the Palestinian Authority before they can move forward. The PA has so far refused to cooperate. One reason might be that the existence of the plans could prevent Palestinian development of lands slated for the train tracks. However, a Palestinian official told the Times of Israel that while officials have refused to cooperate publicly with the proposal, the PA quietly acknowledged that the plans would bring enormous economic benefits to PA-controlled areas and that they support keeping the lands available for the trains. The families of the 3 children injured last month at the Union for Reform Judaism's Goldman Union camp near Indianapolis have opened the Miracle Kids Medical and Rescue Fund to provide world-class medical equipment and safety supplies to keep Goldman campers safe at all times. On June the 29th, 3 campers at the camp near Zionsville, Indiana, were struck by lightning, sending them to the hospital. 2 were released soon after. However, one who was critically injured during the strike, 13-year-old Ethan Kadish of Ohio, remains hospitalized. Ethan was moved recently from his hospital's pediatric intensive care unit to the rehabilitation floor where his recovery continues. More information can be found regarding the Miracle Kids Fund at urj.org. And finally today, 2 young women scientists received research scholarships in the amount of 50,000 shekels, or about $14,000, earlier this week as part of the local competition for the L'Oreal UNESCO program for women in science. Nathalie Zeytouni and Edith Naor each received the local prize Tuesday night and will now be candidates for the international prize. Zeytouni is a Ben Gurion University of the Negev scientist in structural biology. She is doing research on disease-producing bacteria, especially focusing on tuberculosis. She will go to the University of British Columbia in Canada to conduct her research. Naor is of Tel Aviv University. She is studying toxoplasma parasites and their ability to infect warm-blooded animals. She will be doing her research here in the States at Stanford. In the past 5 Israeli women have received the prize at the international competition, 3 of them in the past 3 years. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, July the 25th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.